Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
It's the day before World's Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting.
It
You
is.
can tell my voice.
No,
I don't-
actually, you know what though? I'm actually kind of stoked to see Faker back in finals. There's just something about that man and finals that is just so exciting to see, and I'm stoked for it, at least in that regard. Also stoked for the Faker Deft narrative. I think that's pretty fun. Um, should be pretty solid. Although I think
it's
T1 owns like this, not even just the season series. I think they
with the
own
head.
all of the head-to-heads pretty much in terms of series victories.
I don't know that. I don't think that says much because DRX played Gen G, and DRX got their first wins against Gen G in the semifinals all year.
Yeah,
Also, DRX is a fucking play-ins team, and that's
right.
insane. I think this is the furthest. I think they
Yes.
said it's the furthest play-ins team. So again, I mean, I kind of want to root for DRX just because they're super underdogs in this. But I mean, it's like Faker going for his fourth title. Someone I saw on the subreddit suggested that if T1 wins, I can't T1 SKT whatever. If they win, Faker's skin should be a legendary skin. Because like
It should
season
just be
3,
Faker
they want.
as Rise.
That's what they were saying. Like, well, yeah. So someone said that too, but season 3, his world skin was 520 RP, and then season 5 it was 750 RP, and then season 6 it was 1350. So the next level is 1820. So it should be a legendary skin. How insane would that be if they gives them another Rise?
Right.
Don't give me except it would be T1, not SKT T1.
Right.
I don't know. Go DRX. But yeah, that's tomorrow. We're gonna be watching it. It's gonna be epic. But yeah, today we got Gragas and Mordekaiser.
Yes.
Mordekaiser has a fuckload that has changed over the years.
He's had so many changes.
Gragas, not so much, but that's okay. Actually, really quick, one thing I wanted to mention that has nothing to do with the champion review that was not on the patch notes, and I think you know where I'm going with this. They changed a bunch of item icons, and they didn't even mention it.
Yeah, they did. I forgot about that, and you're totally right. But boy, do they look way better so far.
They look way better. I was like waiting for them to. I knew they were coming,
Right.
but not this early.
Right.
Like, hold on, I have the client open right now. Let me see if I can get. What do we got? Blade of the Rune King.
You got Bork, you got
Bork.
Recurve, Seraphs, Death's Dance.
Yeah, Bork looks great. Bork, I know, like Recurve Bow, all the little components. Death's Dance looks good. I don't know. It was weird. They just didn't mention that. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. The new Death's Dance icon is
yeah, I mentioned it was. It kind of looks.
like a deep fried meme.
It looks a little blurry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and maybe I just found a post on Reddit too, and it looks like maybe they actually cleaned it up and inserted it because it looks a lot clearer than it did when I saw it in game. Excuse me. So I wonder if they redid it. Someone said it looks ugly. Actually, I think it looks better now in this state.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, what's funny is like Death's Dance is supposed to look like Nightmare Trendemir's Blade, pretty much, right? And because I mean he's like the guy who kind of does play Death's Dance with his ultimate, right? But I've always thought that it looks like a cloak or a cape, and it still kind of looks like a cloak or a cape. Like when you look at, because the icon is tiny in game, right? You just see this like orange sash come down a green background. It just, I don't know. I would think they would make it a little bit more sword-like, I guess. I don't know.
Riot works in mysterious ways, and we
They
just
do.
don't know what they're doing half the time. But overall, looks great. Happy. Hopefully, well, we're gonna get more. Like Rod of Ages coming back. Rod of Ages looks different.
Yes.
Catalyst looks different.
Yes.
Much better. That should be in 2 weeks, so get excited for that. But Gragas, we're gonna start with Gragas here.
Old Graggy Ice, the fat man in the jungle.
Man, his his like icon or his like model
It's
here
garbage.
looks
It's
horrible.
disgustingly terrible. Like they need to fix his model. Like he doesn't have pizza feet, but he has pizza feet.
I mean, to be fair, he's not meant to look this big,
Right.
like in game.
Right.
He looks fine in game,
Right.
but like, man, his
Just he looks like dirt here. I don't know.
he looks like
they have really bad
look-
polygons on this one.
he he looks like he should be in Donkey Kong 64.
Right. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't
Like
know.
the polygons are fucking terrible for some of the new champions that have come out that are like a lot smoother. Even not new ones are a lot smoother. Gragas been around for a minute. They just never given him like a proper, not even a VGU, just a visual. They've just never got a good visual update, and that's what he needs for sure.
So let's this should be relatively quick. We can
Yep.
go over him.
Yep.
I do wish Steven was here.
Yeah.
Steven, if you're listening, thanks. Just
Steven,
kidding.
I know where you live and I know where you sleep at night. That's all I'm saying. If you get a wet willy in the middle of the night, it wasn't me. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's his brother Eric. Okay.
Yeah, it is, or his wife. So I mean, there's that.
All right. So I think first of all, I think Gragas is just one of those champions that's like, I guess you could compare him to like Thresh, where I feel like he's good in any meta.
Right.
He's so disruptive and just
He's versatile.
even very versatile. Like even building full AP, which we'll get to his W, he can get tanky, but then like he's just solid as a full on straight tank.
Right. And I didn't know he was classified as a Vanguard champion, which is like Leona's a Vanguard type champion.
Offensive tanks. Okay, that
right,
makes sense.
Right. And yeah, I mean, not only is he a great tank when you build him tank, he's an incredible mage when you build him AP. He just has great ratios. You can't, it's kind of like Cho'Gath where you can't really do both, but you know, the ratios are there, the items are there to make it worth it. Hell, his passive is there. I mean, if you're a tank, his passive is great. Obviously, it does scale on max health. It's called Happy Hour. And periodically, after casting an ability, Gragas heals himself for 6.5% of his max health. I think it's 8 seconds. It says, yeah, static cooldown 8 seconds. It's just kind of gross. Like, that's, if you ever watch like pro players playing, you know, they might clear a camp and then they will just use an ability like his W just to heal. Because later in the game, you could be talking 200 health, you know. It does make a big difference. So I think his passive is actually better than it seems like it would be. And for how simple it is, I think it's still pretty viable.
Oh, for sure. Like, especially jungling, where I mean, you're literally you don't even have to use pots, or like you're just gonna be full health like pretty much all the time.
Right.
Lane, maybe it's a little different, but I mean, you could just go tier and you're probably fine with mana.
Yeah.
But no, it's such a simple yet it's a very big. It's very strong. I don't know if I'd call it overpowered, but like it's pretty strong. There's champions that struggle. I guess with the season coming up, any champion's gonna be able to jungle. So maybe this will be a little bit less like.
Less
I don't want to say
game-breaking.
unique.
Right.
Yeah, anybody's gonna be able to jungle.
Right.
You know, but yeah. So let's move on to barrel roll. I did not know that's what it was called. It's so simple.
I didn't know that either.
That's how you know how old this champion is. Their names are just
the skill names
super.
are garbage or really straightforward. Like, oh, I know what that ability does.
Active Gragas rolls a cast to the target location, remaining there for 4 seconds, granting sight of the area and fermenting over 2 seconds to increase its damage and slow effectiveness up to 150%. Barrel roll can be recast at any time within the duration after the cast has fully traveled and does so automatically after its duration ends. And then on the recast, he detonates the cast, dealing magic damage to nearby enemies, reduced by 30% against minions, and slowing them for 2 seconds. I know this is, if you're playing AP, this is the item you're going to level up first. It's very fucking strong,
Right.
For clearing. And it's one of those abilities where, so you throw it out, and then on the icon it has like the countdown to how long it's gonna last, and I think it turns like red when it's fermented.
Yeah, it turns. I think it turns more red on the bar, but yeah, when it's fully fermented, it turns like a bright red.
Does a fuck ton of damage, and
massive.
The cooldown starts immediately. So if you let it, so the cast can remain there for 4 seconds. So when you at level 1, it's gonna be 6 seconds after it. So there's some abilities where the cooldown doesn't start until the entire ability is like I don't want to call it dead, like done.
Right.
This starts immediately.
Yes.
So kind of like I think Varus Q works like that. If you like pull your arrow back and you're holding it, the cooldown begins.
I believe so.
Something like that. So it's very strong. 150% damage. So base damage minimum is 80 to 240. So then whatever 150% of that at the max, that's a lot. And then 80% AP ratio is why you build this dude AP.
Right.
Minimum minion damage. I mean, that's just so he can't one-shot fucking minions or if he's laning. And then the minimum slow is 40 to 60. So then 150% of that 60%, like that's a lot.
So the maximum slow you're going to have is 60 to 90%. Your max magic damage to champions.
Oh, I didn't realize the little arrows there.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, they just slide over to the max. You could do at level 1, 120, all the way up to max rank on that to 360 with 120% AP scaling on the max damage there. So, and the minions are going to be similar. Obviously, it's just cut by 30%. So it is 84 to 252 with the 84% AP ratio. So yes, right. This ability, if you watch, God, what's his name that plays just Gragas all the time?
Is it the EU dude?
Yeah,
the sloppy walrus.
Yes, the guy that does he's got that Bomba. Nice little combo, dude.
Bomba.
Yeah, he's got the Bomba combo. Great. It's disgusting. We'll get into that after we get through all the abilities because that combo is gross, and you can pretty much 100-0 any fighter, which is like a half squishy. But for now, we'll move down to Drunken Rage. The active Gragas channels for 0.75 seconds, drinking out of his brew, and gains damage reduction for 2.5 seconds. Upon completing the channel, Gragas empowers his next basic attack within 5 seconds to have an uncancelable windup, gain 50 bonus range, deal bonus magic damage to the target and nearby enemies, capped at 300 against monsters. So, Gragas takes a big old sip of his barrel and then uses it to smash the next person that he sees. Drunken Rage is a very good name for this ability because it's like, yep, I'm drunk and now I'm gonna smash you with my drink. So the damage reduction is not crazy high. It really only benefits you if you're building AP, which is why the AP Gragas works because you can get into a fight pretty quickly. I mean, it holds for 2.5 seconds. You're getting 10 to 18% based on rank, plus 4% per 100 AP. So,
I mean, if you're rocking 500 AP,
yeah,
that's another 20%.
Yeah.
So almost 40% damage reduction at max rank. I mean, I believe this is the ability you max last.
I believe so. Yeah,
I mean,
you're not getting any
5-second cooldown.
Exactly.
I mean, that's insane.
Right.
If you that's pretty good. I mean,
right.
Combo that, like, you're in the jungle, you're not taking any damage, you're healing off your passive as it is, and you're getting damage reduction. It's to make your jungle clear even crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about the damage?
The bonus magic damage is 20 to 140 based on rank, plus 7% of the target's max health and a 70% AP ratio. Again, if you have 500 AP, that's a little less than 3/4 of that, which is math is escaping me right now. Like, was that 350 or something like that?
75 would be
about 350, somewhere in that range.
350, yeah.
About 350. Plus 7% target's max health, and if it's max rank at 140, I mean, you're talking, this ability does a shit ton of damage and gives you a massive amount of fucking
right
reduction.
I mean, the fact that it does percent target max health is just another reason he can go tank. Like, he just does damage as a tank.
Right, and if you can get somebody, if you're skilled enough and you can pull it off, you can roll a barrel behind them take the Drunken Rage, run up, pop the barrel, and smash at the same time for a massive burst of damage if you're going AP. There's other things you can add to that combo, and we'll get there when we get through these next couple abilities. So tell me about maybe his, I don't know if it's most iconic, but one of his most iconic abilities.
Body slam, man.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Okay, so Gragas charges in the target direction and stops upon colliding with an enemy, dealing magic damage to all nearby enemies. We noticed, or have we mentioned, all of these abilities so far are AoE?
Yeah,
like, everything is AoE.
I didn't realize they were all AoE.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Every single one
he
of them.
has so much fucking AoE. Dealing magic damage to all nearby enemies, knocking them back, though not through terrain, and stunning them for 1 second. Body slam current cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds if Gragas hits an enemy, and then barrel roll and explosive cast can be cast during the dash. I think, one of the biggest things is if you hit someone, you get 3 seconds refunded. The fact that you can cast other abilities while fucking throwing yourself, yeeting yourself through the air.
With belly first.
He is the most nimble fat man. It's pretty insane, dude. Like, you'd be walking through the jungle minding your own fucking business, and then you get hit with fucking, I don't even know. Does it say, like, I wonder if it would, like, tell you how much champions weigh, like, in lore. How big they are.
You know,
he's got to be fucking like 400 pounds, dude. He's fucking.
Find it. There might be something here.
But it's just so crazy. Like, this huge dude is so mobile.
Right.
So the magic damage is 80 to 260 with a 60% AP ratio. Like, all his AP ratios are through the roof. Like, they're all over. I think the lowest is 60%.
Yeah.
Minimum damage is 56 on his Q, but that's still like, what the fuck, dude.
They don't have well, maybe if there's a trivia blurb.
He's
maybe
fucking huge.
No, there's nothing on that side. Let me see. Yeah, he's a fat man. I'll tell you, he's a big motherfucker.
He's like, and like playing him top lane, he's just wonderful for setting up ganks for your jungler. Like, he has so much CC, and he just preps the, like, he's just okay. He's a tank. But then he's also deceptively tanky with his W, and like you could bait so many people in trying to like tower dive you if you're like 1 HP. You're just gonna heal. You're gonna take reduced damage. You can body slam to just interrupt whoever the fuck. Throw your Q out, slow them. Like, I don't think you ever want to dive a Gragas. Like,
no.
And then we'll get to his ult right now. So
especially especially with that cask, which is his most iconic. They said the belly bump might give it a run for its money, but this, I think, for sure is the most iconic. Gragas hurls a cast that travels to the target location over 0.55 seconds, exploding on impact to deal magic damage to all enemies within the area and knock them back 900 units, though not through terrain, from the epicenter of the explosion, as well as granting sight of the area for 1 second. So let me break that down because that sentence is written very strangely. You throw the cask, and wherever it lands, it has an explosion, kind of like a Ziggs W, the satchel, and it's going to blow people in any direction outward from that cask. You just can't send them over walls or over terrain or whatever. This ability has a base damage of 2 to 400 based on rank with an 80% AP ratio. It's very easy to one-shot a squishy with just this ability alone if it's early enough in the game and you're fed enough. I've seen it happen as an ADC, or even like a weak early unit like a Soraka or Lulu that just doesn't have the health pool. He just drops a cask right on your face and you're dead. You don't even get knocked back. You just die.
You can't move.
No, yeah.
Especially if you get like comboed. Like,
yeah. So it was the Bomba combo.
Yeah.
Does he throw a Q?
So yeah, he throws the Q out backwards, or he'll throw it to the side.
Yeah.
Where he thinks, let it ferment, and he will, of course, W for the damage reduction just in case. Yep. He can E, then flash, so you surprise him.
Yep.
Knocks them up, and then drop the cask on the opposite side. And like, these Gragas players are so fucking like precise.
Geometrical.
With yeah, like, so they can make sure if they throw it on the opposite side of their target, it'll knock them back right into the fermented
Cask.
Cask in his Q.
Yeah.
And then if you have like electrocute, that's a 3-hit combo. It pops them and boom, it 100-0s them.
Yeah, it's disgusting. If you've ever seen it pulled off, it's actually gross. And you can do that to a tanky enemy too. Just deal a massive amount of damage. But that takes a lot of time put in on this champion. Somebody like a Steven would know how to do that.
I really like abilities where you can do it first and then flash.
Right.
Like I know you can do
Like
it like Sejuani, taunt, Sejuani Q,
Right.
Vi Q. It might take a little practice, but you can getting caught out or like getting hit by an unsuspected Gragas E is so fucking gross.
Yes.
And then as far as his ult goes, I would say his ult is like along the lines of like a Rumble ult where it's really impactful.
Extremely like
even if
team
you're not
fight.
even fed.
Right.
It's the fact that it just disrupts everything.
Right.
And if you're trying to like knock away a front line, just throw that fucking barrel out and boop, they're gone. Or you can knock the the back line out away from the fight. It's knocking them 900 units. It also has a range of 1,000 units, which is pretty far.
It's extremely far.
It's up there. I don't know. I can't think of another like fight game changing ulti such as like a Rumble ult or Gragas ult. I think maybe we'll come up with one.
Yeah, Rumble ult, Gragas ult. The other skill
I mean-
that's game changing like that is Corky's package, but that's basically like a Rumble ult on crack. But that's not an ultimate. That's just a, you know what I mean.
Maybe Renata ult. I don't know.
Renata's pretty game breaking. Seraphine,
Yeah.
but I still think the cask is more game breaking than that because it's when you're looking at a front to back team fight, which is the kind of fights that Gragas really thrives in. If you could split up their entire team fight, then you guys can easily mop that up. You know, maybe you catch the front line out with the cask and bring them to you, and your 5 team members, or you and your other 4 team members, blow that person up. Now they're without a frontliner, you know, and all of a sudden it becomes easier to get on the back line, or it becomes easier to exert pressure onto the map because they don't have anybody to absorb damage anymore. So this champion, very impactful in team fights. Even without it, I mean, he really can assassinate you, but he is extremely impactful in team fights, and that's, I think, where he thrives the most.
All right. All important question.
Dude.
Also, did you see his new skin?
Yeah, Space Groove.
It's actually pretty sick.
It's pretty sick. I'm not going to include it because it's brand new.
Right.
Excuse me. It's brand new, but like it's pretty sick. If I had to choose, man, I like Gragas Cask Breaker, but Super Fan is pretty good, and so is Scuba. I'm gonna go Super Fan. I like the Mohawk Gragas with the Gatorade cask.
I like Gragas Esquire is pretty good. I like that skin line.
That's
like
fair, too.
Gentleman Cho'Gath,
Yeah.
Esquire.
He's got
Hillbilly,
a bottle of champagne instead.
Hillbilly Gragas, classic.
Willie Nelson, basically.
Oktoberfest Gragas is cool.
The later Hosen. I like the splash art for Oktoberfest Gragas. You have old GP in the back. Olaf, old Ash. I think that's Timo's hand in the lower
Probably
left.
the glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Arctic Ops is classic too. I feel like that's a pretty common but a good one as well. It's just funny to see with like the furry collar. You know, obviously with not just clothes on, but like cold weather clothes. You know.
Yep. All right. Well, if there's anything else you want to mention, I think
I
I'm
think
good.
that's it. I peeked at some of his old stuff, and it's just old icons, and they're pretty funny, but they fit in with like the way the old icons used to look. And like the original Drunken Rage, that's pretty good. Not gonna lie. The rest of them, but the original Drunken Rage. Oh, and a little keynote that it's just a little piece of trivia. In the picture for Happy Hour, the drink in his mug is actually Graggy Ice, which is
In his current one or old one?
in the current one.
Okay.
Is actually Graggy Ice, and That's just a play on Natty Ice for those of you who don't know about hillbilly beer. But from there, I think we can transition on to our next champion, which is going to take the brunt of the time. Young Mordekaiser, aka Mordekaiser, the Iron Revenant, aka what was he called before?
The Master of Metal.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think you're right.
Oh man, wholly forgot about that whole. He was used to be. No, it still says the Iron Revenant.
Yeah, but that wasn't what it. That wasn't what it was.
Anyways,
I have to look at his original title.
This champion is just so infamous with having bugs. Like, especially if anybody has watched Pro Play for a while or has been playing for a while, Season 5, the Juggernaut rework, Riot just fuck. This is the reason why we have smaller patches leading up to Worlds now, because on whatever patch that was for Season 5 Worlds, they reworked Mordekaiser, GP, Darius, Skarner, all the Juggernauts, Garen. I don't think, maybe Garen got a few games, but Mordekaiser and Gangplank were just 100% pick ban. They both had 100% win rates. It was pretty insane. I can't even. That's his second iteration. I can't even really remember his first iteration. So
his first iteration wasn't that much different than his second.
Right.
And he was called the Master of Metal. You were right. The thing that was the greatest about his first iteration, his first iteration and his second iteration, even
the names
of the abilities. 100% the greatest thing.
They did change 2 of them. Interesting.
Did they? So
the names.
So I know that his passive was Iron Man, and he had Mace of Spades, and I think Creeping Death.
Siphon of Destruction.
Okay.
And then Children of the Grave. But yeah, in his second, they changed it to Harvester of Sorrow.
That's a good one too.
And then Siphon. So if anybody didn't know, Iron Man, Black Sabbath, Mace of Spades is a play on Ace of Spades, Motorhead, Creeping Death was Metallica, Siphon of Destruction was Tyler's favorite band, Megadeth, and then Children of the Grave was Black Sabbath again.
Yes. What was Harvester of Sorrow? I never figured that one out.
Metallica.
Oh, was that Metallica too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I really like Metallica, so.
Well, I mean, considering he was the Master of Metal, I mean, metallic,
Sure.
I won't go there. So you want to start with his old, or you want to start with his new?
We'll start with the old. We'll work up. We'll go.
Do you want to go
first
ability?
Passive, second?
Okay.
Yeah. So first passive. Iron Man, Mordekaiser shields himself for 17.5% of the damage dealt by his abilities, doubled against enemy champions, capping at 120 to 630 based on level, and decaying by 3% per second. 630 feels like a lot, but
it was
gonna
a lot.
get to. So it didn't scale. It was pretty, all right, pretty basic. Second iteration. Innate, Mordekaiser shields himself for 25% of the damage dealt by his abilities, halved to 12.5 against enemy minions, and capped at 25% of his max HP. And then after 1.5 seconds delay, Iron Man shield decays at a rate of 1.5 base health per second, down to a minimum of 6.25% of his max health.
Yep.
I don't think. I mean, it makes sense because the original one says doubled, whereas this one is doubled, but against minions,
right,
it's halved. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just the value is less,
right,
but it has a cap on his max health. And then let's go back to his current passive, which I believe is very similar. Actually, is it? No, the W.
No,
okay,
I think they moved it to his W. Yeah.
Okay, so Darkness Rise. How do you feel about them getting rid of the song names?
So there is one song name in here.
What, Indestructible?
Yes.
Disturbed?
Yes.
No one listens to Disturbed.
But I don't think that they did that intentionally. I'm putting it that
No.
way. Like, there is a song name in there by a new metal band, so sure, but I don't think it was intentional. I would have to find like a little trivia thing to see if it was intentional. But I was very sad that they like, I wish they would have just found new metal songs to incorporate into his kit. But he is now also called the Iron Revenant, so they did take the like heavy metal idea away from him. But yeah, I wouldn't say I was not happy. I just was sad.
So his Darkness Rise passive at Nate. Mordekaiser's basic attacks are empowered to deal 40% AP bonus magic damage on hit. And of course, every passive of every rework champion needs to have 4 fucking paragraphs and have a million things.
It says
and then we still got
Mordekaiser on it.
Mordekaiser? Well, remember, Wall Wiki is definitely not run by Riot.
It's not. It's just funny.
Mordekaiser generates a stack for each enemy champion or monster hit by his damaging basic attacks or basic abilities, lasting for 4 seconds, refreshing on subsequent hits, and stacking up to 3 times. We know we love 3-hit passives. At 3 stacks, he gains Darkness Rise. Darkness Rise, Mordekaiser gains 3, 6, 9.
Damn, she's fine.
Thank you. Bonus movement speed. And deals 5 to 15.2 based on level, plus 30% AP, plus 1 to 5 based on level of target's max health, magic damage every second to nearby enemies. Against monsters, the damage is capped at 180 per second. So I know when he first got reworked, that movement speed bonus was a flat percentage. And I think within this year, they added the scaling.
Yeah.
Fucking great, because it feels so bad to let people just run out of Mordekaiser's range.
Yep. Easily.
When his passive is running.
Right.
And then I know they changed it to work on all jungle monsters now, because before it just used to be the large ones.
Yes.
Which is great. He's still pretty decent at jungling. I don't know. It's pretty sick. It feels good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it feels a lot better. They put the old passive in with his W, which we'll get to. I think it's pretty good. It lets him... It makes him feel like a lane bully. Like, he's very... You don't want to be sitting in this.
Right.
Especially... you're going to build Riftmaker with him, because, like, Omnivamp and just the amount of, like, true damage that you're... he's a...
Free-stacking damage on that.
He's like a drain tank.
Right.
He's gonna want to, like, vamp off you. You can't get away from him, especially if you slap on a fucking Rylai's. You are not getting away from this dude.
It's so disgusting with the Rylai's, dude.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go back. Let's tell me about his cues.
Mace of Spades. So, Mordekaiser's next basic attack gains bonus range and is enhanced to deal magic damage, applies spell effects, and to either bounce up to 3 additional enemies or dealing 65% increased damage if there are no other enemies nearby. Mace of Spades resets Mordekaiser's basic attack timer. So it basically adds magic damage to your basic attack. So you get 100% of your bonus AD added to this. The magic damage did scale at this time 80 to 200, and you got a 40% AP ratio. I believe it was, or was that the second iteration that became a 3-hit?
It was the second one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this one, like, if there was things nearby, it would become an AoE ability. If there was not, it was just bigger damage to a single target. So, and I believe his mace got really big when he dropped it, too.
It made... I know... We'll talk about the second one, because the sound it made was incredible.
It did. It was...
I don't remember the first iteration of Mordekaiser.
I don't think remember enough. Yeah.
But
Mace of Spades V2. Active. Mordekaiser's next 3 basic attacks deal bonus magic damage, with the 3rd hit dealing double of that. Still resets the auto attack timer. So, the first and second hits dealt 10 to 50, plus 50 to 90% AD, plus 60% AP. Obviously, that's based on level. The third hit did 20 to 100, plus 100 to 180% AD, plus 120% AP, and it had the greatest fucking noise in the world.
Let me see if I can find it. Let's see.
It rivals Mundo throwing a trophy in the TPA Mundo skin. That has such a great noise as well. But like I think every time the noise actually changed, each hit I think the noise changed a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I'm trying to find. So that was... Hold on. Fuck, come on.
It was such a fun ability, and it always felt difficult to get that third hit, because like someone would catch the audio cue of the first one, like, get the fuck out of the way of this thing. But what's cool is like you could hit like 2 minions and then bonk a champion with a third hit, you know?
Right, you stack that up.
Right. Or you could hit one champion with 3 hits. I mean, obviously he wasn't a attack speed building champion, so it was a little bit harder to hit that all 3 on him, but it was doable. It was possible. I forgot also in this iteration, and was it in his first iteration? He doesn't have a resource bar. His first iteration, okay, no, it was there too. His abilities used his health, much like Mundo, and I know we forgot to mention that. So I mean, he was one of those bruisers, I guess, is the best thing to call him. I know they classify him as a juggernaut, so I mean that's like the likes of a Darius and a Garen. But he was basically an AP bruiser, really, before there were a whole lot of AP bruisers in the game.
I just remember, almost forgot he had mixed damage. So it's like this guy was the perfect gunblade user.
Yep. Oh, old gunblade.
Gunblade, active, slow. Yeah, it was miss that item. It was too OP. Actually, it was way too OP.
It was a broken ass item. Okay, then we'll go to his current Q, which is called Obliterate. And it keeps a very similar theme. Mordekaiser strikes his mace down in a line in the target direction, dealing magic damage to enemies within, increased if only one enemy is hit. He also has a voice line that just says shatter when he drops it. And it's pretty disgusting. And it looks like 5 to 139 based on your level. So not based on rank, based on your level. Plus 75 to 155 based on rank with a 60% AP ratio. The damage increase on a single target is 40 to 60% based on rank.
So kind of a throwback to his original Q,
yes,
where it would deal bonus damage. I like that.
Yes, yeah, hitting the solo shot. So also to note, it applies spell damage if it hits one target and area damage to multiple targets. So it does reclassify. So that does change. I think I don't know if there's still in the game items that have AoE nerfs or buffs. I remember Rylai's in the past was nerfed for AoE damage. I think it was only like it was nerfed for DOT damage, not AoE. It was nerfed for damage over time. But I think there were some abilities I think that were nerfed for AoE damage. But it also makes a difference when you look at certain champion abilities. Some champions can reduce AoE damage as well. So,
all right, trivia. Do you know what the name of his mace is called? I
don't.
Nightfall.
Okay.
He says it. He talks about it.
Okay.
That's weird. Yeah.
He I do like the fact that they changed his mace to a more viable style mace. The spike ball I don't think really ever was viable in history, but the like bladed axe based mace that it wasn't really, I don't know if blade is the right word, but the more modern style of mace makes more sense with his get up and whatnot.
All right, let's move to his W. First, the W was Creeping Death. Mordekaiser summons a cloud of metal shards around the target ally or himself for 6 seconds, granting his target bonus armor and bonus magic resist, as well as causing them to deal magic damage each second to nearby enemies for the duration. If cast on an ally, Mordekaiser also gains Creeping Death's effect, as well as both gaining 60 bonus movement speed when moving towards each other. Creeping Death is applied to the nearest allied champion in range when Mordekaiser targets himself. So bonus resistances scaled from 10 to 30, and then the magic damage per second was 20 to 68, and then with a 15% AP ratio. So again, this is it. They kind of move this to his passive, where it's an AOE burn kind of thing. Great.
Creeping Death was a terrible name for this ability, by the way. There was no instance about this that ever made me feel like death was creeping in on me. I think
whoever made him was just like, oh, that's a sick title.
Right, and they just had to like fit it in somehow.
That is my favorite Metallica song off note, but
Okay.
I agree. It kind of just doesn't make sense for this ability.
No, but I did like the ability. It was very weird looking. You just see these little shrapnel pieces flying around him, and it was very strange. I don't know if you've ever watched Full Metal Alchemist. But one of the brothers is basically a Mordekaiser type. he's just a giant walking piece of armor. Except I believe old Mordekaiser was inhabited by a demon or something like that. Obviously, in Full Metal Alchemist, he was not. But every time I see him and I think of like metal shards, I'm like, man, if that was in Full Metal Alchemist, that would have been pretty funny because it wouldn't have made any fucking sense.
All right, moving on to his second iteration when they did the Juggernaut rework, and this was the biggest fucking thing of why he was broken, and which is kind of also weird that a very similar passive came back with Neela with sharing XP. So, Harvester of Sorrow passive, Mordekaiser gains bonus experience when killing a minion near allies equal to 50% of the experience he lost due to them being there, which totals at 82.6, 71.73, 66.3, 63.04, 60.8% based on champions of the minion's experience bounty. It was so weird that they forced him to be a bot laner.
They did all this, and then that's just basically like telling you, okay, cool, go be in a lane where there's a partner, because you're not going to send two top, you know.
It was insane. Like, you would, I think it was more hardcore than what Neela's is.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Like, plus it was just yourself. You were getting all the experience.
Right. Now, Neela shares with her teammates when she kills a minion. So they just get the little bit of the buff. But yeah, this was like to yourself. So it's just like, hey, go be in a lane with a partner that can help you, and then also you get more XP just for being by that partner and killing minions. So there you go.
You're like guaranteed to be a level higher, like at all times.
Pretty much.
It was pretty gross. Unless
disgusting.
The enemy support roams or something.
Right.
All right. For active first cast, Mordekaiser targets an ally or minion, and for the next 4 seconds, they gain up to 75% bonus movement speed while moving towards each other, increasing the further apart they are, which lingers for 1.5 seconds. When near enough to each other, each deal magic damage in an area of effect around themselves every second for the duration. Melee and caster minions have a smaller AoE. Harvester of Sorrow ends if Mordekaiser or his ally dies. For the next 4 seconds, Mordekaiser can reactivate Harvester of Sorrow to end its primary effect and trigger a secondary effect, which triggers automatically at the end of the duration. If activated while no allies are nearby, Mordekaiser will highlight an area around him and can activate the ability as normal. The first ally to come in range will automatically gain the effect too. That second effect, Mordekaiser constricts the area, dealing magic damage to all enemies near himself and his ally, as well as healing himself and his ally for the same amount from up to 2 enemies hit in their respective areas. Healing is reduced to 25% when harvesting minions. Jesus. Okay, harvest damage, 50 to 190 with a 30% AP ratio, 50 to 190 heal per enemy with a 30% AP ratio, and then healing from minions was 12.5 to 47.5 with a 7.5% AP ratio. You can like go in and trade hardcore, and then you just hit W, and whoop, you're just fucking... It was so insane.
This took away the disadvantage of being a melee champion into a ranged champion. Literally. It was like, oh yeah, normally like if you're playing a melee into a range, you're gonna have a harder time in lane where they can bully you or poke you out or whatever, harass you. And this ability said, fuck that. Beat me. Absolutely disgusting. This is 100% the reason he got changed. There's more reasons, but this is like by far, okay, I said 100%, like 90% of the reason he got changed.
Just like his ability is just so overloaded. Just from the how would you even like, because you can like look at abilities damage and what they do, and you can put a gold value on that. I mean, I don't even know how to explain like how like insane bonus experiences when you're in a duo lane. Like you're just guaranteed an advantage.
Right.
Like I mean, I guess you could look at it as how much HP, AD, AP, etc. stats you get when you're a higher level, and you could put that into a gold value, I guess. But
sure.
It's a matter of like, oh, my enemy's level 5, I'm level 6, I got ult now. Like, it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You could trade hardcore with this dude, heal, and then, yeah. I mean, it was nice that they made the healing way less for minions, so you can't just sit there and vamp off minions. But I mean, like, still, you'd still, I don't know.
It's
fucking insane.
It was busted, and that's why they changed it to his newest W.
Yes, let's see. Let's go.
Indestructible. Okay, disturbed.
Yep. Disturbed. Passive. Mordekaiser stores 45% of the post-mitigation damage he deals and 15% of the pre-mitigation damage he takes, reduced by 75% for non-champion sources, as potential shield on his secondary resource bar, up to 30% of his max health. Thing to note, we have not said, his abilities don't cost health anymore. They got rid of that.
Yes.
There's no resource.
Yeah.
Up to 30% of his maximum health. The potential shield decays by 8 to 25 based on level every second after not dealing or taking damage for 1 second. While indestructible is not on cooldown, the potential shield will not decay below a minimum of 5% of his max HP, and it will be set to that amount when it comes off cooldown if it was previously below it.
Okay.
Whew. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but I mean, like your secondary resource bar is filling up when you're taking damage, dealing damage. That's pretty much all you need to know. And then when you get to the active 1, consume, or it's active recast. Okay, active consumes his potential shield to grant himself a shield for the same amount for 4 seconds. The shield decays exponentially over the duration. Indestructible can be cast after half a second while the shield is active. So the shielding, when you recast it, it heals for a portion of the amount, so 35 to 45% of your shield. So shield is going to be 100% of whatever you're stacking in that resource bar, and then you're going to get less than, at max rank, less than half if you want to heal yourself. But I mean, it scales with your max HP. He's a bruiser. He's an AP bruiser.
Yeah.
You're going to be stacking a fuck ton of HP. You could potentially build him full tank, really. Like,
true.
There was like, if you want to go, I mean, they're going to be changing Sunfire, but like people go the Iceborne, Demonic Embrace. Demonic is so fucking good on this dude. Riftmaker is probably the best.
Yep.
I mean, 30%, if you have 5,000 HP, that's a fucking lot.
That's a lot.
It's just deceptively tanky. And just,
yeah, when it gets to like mid to late game and you see this champion appear on your screen, it's like, get the fuck away from me, please. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to expand on that. I don't play new Mordekaiser. I feel like I'm garbage at it. So
I used to play him a lot,
yeah.
But I don't play top lane that much anymore. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
Right, and I also feel like he's not quite in the meta anymore at the moment. So
he's like a very niche pick.
Right.
I feel like he'll come out every once in a while.
Right.
But
all right, we'll move down to the E, the old E, original E, Siphon of Destruction. Active, deals magic damage to all enemies in the target direction.
Wow.
Fucking basic, bro. 70 to 250 base with a 60% AP ratio. I remember that ability. It was very weird. You would press E, and like, so it was always funny to see against like a minion wave, because it would just bring these little maces from out of the ground real fast. They would just like pop up and hit whatever was in the way.
I remember
that was in that range.
Yeah.
It was so fucking stupid looking, but it was funny. They changed it to Siphon of Destruction V2. Active, Mordekaiser deals magic damage to all enemies in a cone in the target direction, which was very similar to how the other one worked anyways. Generally it was a cone. So
well, the other one just targeted? It wasn't like a skill shot, right?
It was point and click.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this one wasn't a point and click. Well, this
Right.
was just an A. Yeah. Okay.
For each enemy champion hit, Mordekaiser generates a bonus percentage of Iron Man shield. So they just made it so you hit it and then you get more of your shield back. So if you hit more champions, you get more shield. So being in a fight, obviously, is what they were trying to encourage you to do. So yeah, being in a fight right there was perfect for using this ability. It had a relatively short cooldown, 6 to 5 seconds. I think it was the last ability you level up, just because the cooldown wasn't. You're not getting much out of the cooldown. You're not getting much in the way of damage. It's not really a great damaging ability. It's more or less for the Iron Man shield.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually kind of a booty skill in general. The magic damage it did was 35 to 155 base with a 60% AD ratio and a 60% AP ratio. And the bonus shield you would get was 15 to 25%. So the extra 10%, again, not really something to write home about in terms of leveling up. I would much rather level up Mace of Spades and Harvester of Sorrow first. And then we look at his current E. Still basic, but a lot less basic. This one's called Death's Grasp. Passive, because every new champion has to have a passive and an active on at least one ability. Mordekaiser gains magic penetration. Active. Mordekaiser summons a claw in the target direction that grants sight of the area. After 1/2 second, it deals magic damage to enemies within and pulls them 250 units in the direction of the claw when it comes back. So it's kind of like Swain's claw. Like it goes and then it pull them back. Obviously, Swain you have to reactivate to pull them, but that's kind of how it works. The magic pen scales 5 to 15% based on level, which is huge. It's free penetration for a bruiser champion. That's just giving him more damage for free. Magic damage is 80 to 140 with a 60% AP ratio. So again, the damage isn't to write home about, but this ability has way more use than any other iteration of his E, which means that sure, it doesn't do a whole lot in terms of damage, but it gives you a whole lot literally everywhere else, including the displacement.
All right. Hear me out. This ability is literally the AP version of Darius's E.
Sure.
Because Darius's E gives him armor pen.
Right. Yeah, I'll buy
This
that.
is both hooks. I feel like this one is a little bit better because this one, the claws, I guess you could count it as a skill shot because like you got to throw it out in an area. Darius is like he's wherever he's standing.
Right.
But this ability is good because if you're getting ganked and getting chased, you can turn to run towards your turret, cast the ability like right on top of you,
Right.
and it'll go backwards and it'll yank the targets away from you.
Right.
So,
And you can even flash to the other side of that ability while doing that and create further gap for yourself. It's actually pretty gross if you can use it that way. It's a little bit more difficult. It's like using Thresh Flay backwards. It can be a little bit more difficult, but with enough practice, it's not that hard. And it will still pull even if Mordekaiser dies. So that's something to think about as well. So yeah,
right.
Finally the
Alti.
the Alti.
Right, let's go. First iteration.
Children of the Grave.
Yeah, Children of the Grave. Active Mordekaiser curses the target enemy champion, dealing them magic damage while healing for the damage done. He then applies the same effect to the target again over the next 10 seconds. If the target dies while cursed, their soul is enslaved as a controllable ghost with bonus attack damage for 45 seconds. While the ghost is active, the target grants Mordekaiser 25% their bonus health, does not enhance the ghost bonuses, and 30% their AP. Alright, so the initial damage was 12 to 17% with a 2% per 100 AP of target's max health. Magic damage per second was 1.2 to 1.7 plus a 0.2% per 100% AP of target's maximum health. And then the ghost bonus AD was 25 to 100. Let's see. I think was this literally the same thing except the dragon?
I think it is the same thing except for the dragon. Yeah, because you still got the
healing.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. It might be a little different. Hold on. I'm trying to let me go back and forth with this. I need to check this.
That's gonna be
this.
Yeah.
Come on, stupid computer. Okay, hold on a second. Let me look at this. Yeah. So it says dealing damage immediately, and then right. So the second iteration, Oh, passively, Dragon Force. Why was it called Dragon Force?
You know
I
why.
did not know that.
You know why.
I don't know why. You have all these classic rock bands and then Dragon Force. Okay.
Well, what else are they going to do for a dragon, right?
I know. Mordekaiser's basic attacks and abilities curse the dragon for 10 seconds. We'll get that in a second. Active, Mordekaiser curses the target enemy champion, dealing magic damage and healing himself for the same amount. This is where it differs. 25% of the damage and healing is applied instantly, while the other 75% is applied for over 10 seconds. Maybe that is the same. It just was worded.
Yeah, it could be worded a little bit differently.
What's the number? Yeah, it probably they probably said it wrote it like that to be a little more transparent.
Right.
Curse, if Mordekaiser team scores an enemy champion, take down as a cursed enemy, he temporarily enslaves their soul as a controllable ghost. Now, is that different if the target dies while cursed? Okay, so it's the same thing. It doesn't say, it's just a takedown. Okay. Enslaving the dragon will kill Mordekaiser's current ghost and prevent him from summoning a new one while it survives. Second active, while the ghost is active, Children of the Grave can be used to move them to the target location. So champion ghosts gain 100% of Mordekaiser's bonus AD as bonus AD and 50% Mordekaiser's maximum health as bonus health. And while Mordekaiser has a champion enslaved, he gains 25% of their bonus health as bonus health and 30% of their AP as bonus AP. Dragon ghosts gain bonus range and modified movement speed.
Let me tell you about the fucking dragon by the motherfucking way. So this here says it was global. It originally was not. So it's another reason he was played in the bot lane, because the dragon's right there. But this shit was fucking insane. Like, oh yeah, let's just go kill a dragon and just casually walk mid for a fucking team fight, or blow up that fucking turret because it's the fucking dragon. He does a massive fuck ton of damage. Like, I don't know why they made this innate. Like, I would think, make me have to cast it on the dragon. Like, give me a trade-off here. That would have been a lot more fair, but no, there's no trade-off. You had this fucking dragon, and I think you could have the dragon for longer than... Or no, it says 10 seconds. I always felt like it was longer than 10 seconds.
No, it's not 10 seconds. That's just cursing it for 10 seconds.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you
I
can
think
have
it's
the
the
dragon
same.
for...
It's like
oh my
Ghost
God.
Duration. There you go, 45 to 75 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it's the same.
Bro, okay. Yeah, this thing... just walk around with the fucking dragon next to me. Yeah, come fight me, bitch. Come on.
Literally can siege turrets like a motherfucker.
It's why it was 100% pick ban.
It was so fucking insane. It was sick as fuck, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. And we didn't even go over the fact that like when you would control enemy champions as a ghost, there were so many fucking stupid interactions. I don't even know how many bugs there were.
I just want to read this little piece to you. Mordekaiser might have been responsible for around 80% of all live bugs in League of Legends.
There you go.
That was in his original 2 iterations. Like,
It was his pizza feet.
this champion was broken.
Also, pretty insane. The fact that the damage on his ult was 25 to 35% plus 4% per 100 AP of target's maximum health. I don't know why it says bonus attack damage was 0 to 150 and then negative 50 to 550.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. But when I believe it was when Runes Reforged came out, if you took Area on Mordekaiser and you had Liandry's, old Liandry's, and Rylai's, so like you get the bonus damage when they're being slowed, I believe you could realistically one-shot anybody because it would just keep reapplying the tick.
Yep.
And you would just burn them to death.
Yep.
And it was pretty gross.
Yeah. BrokenChampion.com.
Point and click, and you're just burning for 35% base of your max health, and then 4% for 100. So it's yeah. That's not even items.
Nope.
Landry's, Riley. Okay, whatever.
Other
it was
burning items.
Stupid as
yeah, it was broken.
It was stupid as fuck. And then moving on to his current ult, which maybe this was, but we didn't even think about this. This is a pretty impactful ulti. Like compared to we were talking about Gragas and like Rumble.
Oh yeah,
This is pretty fucking insane.
This is true. Yeah, we didn't even include this one in the list. We
I
were
didn't even
saving
think
it.
about it.
We were saving it.
Probably visually one of the coolest fucking ults in the game.
Yes.
Realm of Death active. Mordekaiser slows the target enemy champion by 75% over the cast time, then banishes them with him to the Death Realm. I'd like to say Shadow Realm for 7 seconds. So there is a cast time, meaning you can like dodge this ability.
Yes.
Fiora Parry can get rid of this. I'm trying to think of another.
Sivir E.
You just or like yeah anything that can like it's a suppression,
Yes.
right? So anything that can like disrupt the suppression. I mean,
let's see,
guys.
The target is displacement immune, crowd control immune, or protected by a spell shield. The target, if it's a clone or Scion's passive, also cannot
Be banished.
Yes.
I just want to say, this guy can fucking send a pirate to another dimension, and all that pirate has to do is eat an orange,
Yeah.
and he's out.
It says here, Realm of Death can be dispelled if the target uses a cleansing effect with the exceptions of Cleanse, Mikhail's Blessing, and Kled's Dismount. Soul Unbound's Recast is disabled while in Realm of Death, but will cleanse it if somehow cast.
That was a good one. You mentioned Kled. Like, when Kled gets dismounted, if you cast this ulti right as Kled's about to be dismounted, it'll get interrupted. Like, it won't go through.
Right.
Anything that's untargetable, like,
Right.
it's fucking stupid. I don't like that.
Also,
it's half a second.
A little thing to note. If you're standing next to a bush and he casts this on you, if you run into the bush before it casts,
That too. It won't.
he won't go on cooldown, but you won't go into the Death Realm. So he can still,
if you're out of
theoretically
sight of
come
him.
grab you. Yeah, if you lose the sight. So even a Graves W,
Oh god.
I think
Yeah.
could. And now, like I said, it doesn't go on cooldown. It just doesn't affect.
So let's see. Let's go over. So 7 seconds, you're banished, which feels like an eternity, by the way. Like, you think 7 seconds isn't that long, but I mean, like, when you think about Zonya's 2.5 seconds, that feels like an eternity sometimes.
Right.
7 seconds, you're gone.
Yep. It feels like you're in there for fucking ever.
And all other enemies or allies, minions, whatever, fucking go bye-bye. So what's really good about this is if you're trying to flip a Baron, trying to flip a Dragon, you just ult the enemy jungler, and it's like guaranteed that you should be able to get the dragon or objective.
Right.
So Mordekaiser also consumes the target's soul for 7 seconds, healing himself for 10% of their max HP, and reducing all their stats by 10%, in addition to gaining them for himself. So he, again, the whole drain tank, he gets much stronger. It's like there's a 20% like discrepancy, right? They lose 10, he gains 10. If the target dies while inside the Death Realm, Mordekaiser keeps their partial stats until they respawn. So late game, 50-second, 60-second death timers, you're going to be enhanced by 10% of your target. So, like,
unless you have an auction on your team and you revive that person, that's the thing, but you'd have to kill Mordekaiser to do that, so it doesn't really matter.
Units between realms see each other as spirits, considering each other dead and negating any interaction between each other. This one's weird because I feel like they don't like when you're kind of like watching them and you're kind of huddling around like when the Death Realm's gonna end.
Right.
I feel like the little ghost things don't match up sometimes.
I think they're slightly delayed intentionally, kind of like using a sweeper on somebody in a bush. Like it's like a half-second delayed from where they actually are.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fair. It's kind of trolly sometimes, but
well, it'd be pretty busted if you knew exactly where Mordekaiser was gonna be. If he was like the enemy, then you could just jump. Like you got to get him some way of getting out. You know what I mean? But
only Mordekaiser and his target will enter the realm. Other champions cannot follow. Everything that occurs inside the Death Realm is hidden to units outside of it, and all pets still inside are killed at the end. If one of the two affected champions leave the Death Realm because of having died or having it dispelled, the other will do as well. Yep.
Yeah, you can't get trapped in there by yourself.
Just like, oh my god. I guess this will tie into... Is there anything else you want to talk about this? Because, like, I was just going to mention the ulti based on what skin you're using is fucking insane.
Oh no, yeah, no, go.
Because like it'll match into whatever your favorite Mordekaiser skin is.
Right.
I just the Project Mordekaiser ulti is so fucking sick. Let me see. Let me bring it up here.
I do just want to note that we were totally wrong about the skill names. Apparently, they still reference metal songs or bands.
Okay. So what do we got?
Obliterate is a grindcore band from Kosice in Germany, I think.
Where is this? Is this
listed in the trivia? Yeah, at the bottom.
Okay.
Indestructible, the song by Disturbed. Darkness Rise could be referencing the song Atlas Rise by Metallica or The Rise of Darkness by Immortal. Realm of Death, referencing Beyond the Realms of Death by Judas Priest. And Mordekaiser's Mace Nightfall is by Blind Guardian.
Not as cool.
Not as cool as the originals. Apparently there must have been alternate names, maybe in alternate languages, because Mace of Spades also is called Morgenstern, which is Morningstar by Rammstein.
Okay.
There was Harvester of Sorrow by Metallica, Creeping Death by Metallica, Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth, The Prisoner by Iron Maiden. So that must have been like an original, and then obviously there's Dragon Force on there too. I didn't see The Prisoner, but maybe The Prisoner was the second part of, because it's got an icon next to it. That looks like it was the second part of Children of the Grave, the second iteration. So yeah, it must have been the that soul was The Prisoner. So yeah.
All right. Best Mordekaiser song, go.
Mordekaiser skin?
Skin. Yeah,
I'm going to say song? Oh, shit. That's a good question. I mean, Pentakill's pretty good. Project's pretty fucking solid. And so is Darkstar. Like, it's hard to choose there. Let's see. Dragon Knight's okay, and I like the Old Infernal better. I'm between Darkstar and like Pentakill, and not Pentakill V2, but or not Lost Chapter, but like original Pentakill. I think is just fucking badass. I'm gonna go with that. He's just so inhumanly huge in that skin.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the
I
splash art.
think King of Clubs might be the worst one. It's okay.
You know what? I'm not mad at King of Clubs, actually. I think that like either Infernal or Dragonite is worse, or even Lord. I think King of Clubs is actually, well, because he uses basically a giant fucking club. I think it's kind of cool. But he's a golden suit of armor. It's just a total different look for him. He doesn't look so deathly. He looks more like a beacon of light. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I gotta say Darkstar or like
Darkstar is so
Project
good, too.
is
It's
fucking great.
Yeah. Darkstar is so good. Actually, I like the Darkstar skin line in general. I think it's just a super solid skin line. So, the heart. I don't know. I don't know what the best skin is really. It's tough to say. But
well, yeah, that's it. You know, I had one more thing, and it's kind of like I'm sure you've heard me say this, but like, my man says, "Iron stands eternal."
No, Iron Rust.
Buddy, Iron Rust, and will eventually like, dude. I don't know.
Well, you know, though, iron is like the metal that gets used the most across all civilizations of the world in history.
Okay.
So there is something to be said in that regard. Now, eternal, I don't know, but like, is it the most common metal that civilizations have used? Sure. Also, we can't forget to mention that he was the Hue Master.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, we didn't mention it at the beginning with the first iteration, but he was the Hue Master. He was trolly as fuck. But yeah, beyond that, I got nothing else to add, man.
Yeah, that's it. That was a long one. He took a while, but
yeah.
I'm glad you guys. If you're still listening,
thanks for sticking around.
But that is it, guys. Worlds ends tomorrow. Preseason's coming up. It's gonna be big. Yeah, that's, we'll be back next week.
Yes.
I don't know what we're doing, but we'll be back next week.
Maybe we'll talk about FanFest. We're thinking about going to FanFest.
Right.
For Worlds too. So we might have some fun stuff to talk about that. But for now, guys, thanks for joining us. Like, follow on the socials. wherever they are, or wherever I am on the screen. They're somewhere over here. Drop some comments down below. Tell me what your favorite Mordekaiser skin is.
All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Later, y'all.